Hey everyone, it's Alyssa, and it has been a little bit, but I was so excited to share some of the movies that I got from the March Criterion flash sale, and I kind of got a lot. Like, I got too many, but at the same time, I got some for free. So I don't feel so bad. I'm going to say how I did that uh, anyway, but here are the movies, and these aren't just my movies. So this is the original stack. So this is from the original list that we got. And this is 3 films that my husband chose, and then 4 films that I chose. And then we kind of crossed that threshold, that $500 threshold that gives you a gift certificate. So, like, over the years of buying directly from Criterion, which is why I always try to buy more during the actual 1 day flash sales. Because when you do that, you're kind of going into their loyalty program. And so for every dollar, you get a point. When you get up to 500 points, you get a $50 gift certificate. And so it does take the course of a few years. It took a couple of years for me to get to that point. I ended up just getting a $50 gift certificate. So then I made a second purchase during the 24-hour window, and I got 3 films for $15. That was it. That was with the tax. So I feel like totally worth it, right? Like, totally worth it. So I'm going to start with the 3 movies that my husband got. I will say right now, of the movies that we got, there is only one in this stack that I have ever seen before. So these were just a ton of blind buys. And I feel like we've been doing more and more of that lately, that the movies that we've seen many times and we know we like, we kind of hold off buying them. I feel like I've been holding off on getting Wes Anderson movies for a really long time because I've seen it. I know the special features are going to be great, but I kind of want to explore. And I feel like even the two of us, we just really like going into the past, seeing movies that are older films that we haven't seen before. And you'll see, I definitely feel like I have more of a bent, but that's why I like seeing the movies that he chooses, because he chooses more diverse films than I think I do. So, starting off, this is one that he got that I've always been interested in, just watching other people's videos. So, this is a French film called Lahain. I know that it's one of these gritty, realistic dramas. It's about immigrants in France. The film takes place, or the film was made in 1995. So I'm kind of assuming that's when it takes place. And I like films that give me history and context to a specific place, especially when maybe I don't know as much about it. So I feel like that's going to be a really great film for that. So I'm really excited to see that one. The second film he chose, this is one that I have seen before. He has seen many, many times before, and it's Steven Soderbergh's Traffic. And that's a movie that I'm really interested in watching because it has been so many years. And when I say so many years, I mean probably about 20 years since I've last seen this movie. Does that make sense? Because when was this made? In 2000. So, yeah, it has definitely been 20 years since I last saw it. And I know it's kind of obvious, but the only thing I really remember from this movie, I remember liking it, that I did like this movie a lot, was the different color differentiations when you're dealing with different groups of people in different places. And I remember everyone thought that was so clever and it was so symbolic, and each color meant something. And then Steven Soderbergh basically said, no, it was just so you could see the different timelines and know what was going on. So I always think that's funny, when I feel like people like us always put more into it than what some people's intentions are. Maybe not all directors. Some directors, I feel like everything they do is incredibly purposeful. but maybe not in this case. So excited to watch that film again. This is actually brings me to the idea of I'm going to be starting a new kind of series that I've been kind of kicking around in my head for a little bit now. And that is looking at films from a very specific year and seeing how they hold up. So basically, just kind of rolling 100-sided die, which I do have because of the AFI list. And then from there, pay whatever year it is. Choosing 5 films from that year and seeing which films actually hold up that were considered, some of the best or some of the most popular movies from that particular year. So I'm kind of excited for Traffic because that's one of those movies I want to see. Does it actually hold up? And then the last movie that he chose was a Stephen Frears movie called The Hit. And I know nothing about this movie. I've never even heard of this movie before. My husband got it because Terrence Stamp is in it, and I will watch it because Tim Roth is in it. Stephen Frears is kind of an interesting director because when I look at his filmography, and I just looked at his filmography before, it's sort of all over the place. So I think about him as like Dangerous Liaisons because I was just a very weird teenager who liked watching period films. And I remember loving Dangerous Liaisons. I have seen that fairly recently within the past few years, and it still completely holds up to me. But he's also done things like High Fidelity, which you wouldn't necessarily put those things together. He did Mary Riley, which I also saw within the past few years for the first time. And that was definitely not one of my favorite movies that I've ever seen. So I'm excited to see where this is going to fall. It's about hitmen who are hiding out in Spain and everything, comes crumbling down, or so I would assume. So those were the movies that he picked. And then these are the movies that I picked. And so the first one that really caught my eye was Now Voyager. And there are a few reasons. One, I've actually never seen a movie, I don't think, with Betty Davis. Maybe I have. I think Betty Davis is in All About Eve, and I have seen that, and I've seen that when I was in film school. So it has been not film school. I took film classes. I'm an English major. I just want to, I think like I went to film school. But anyway, I wanted to see a film with her. Also, the plot sounded really interesting. The cover makes it feel like it's going to be a romantic comedy to me. But then when I actually read what it's about, it's more of a melodrama about this woman and her mother has a really strong hold on her and doesn't want her to be herself. And this is all about Betty Davis's character breaking free and meeting someone. And it just sounds like just the kind of movie that I would watch. So you would see like all of these movies are definitely, I feel like I tend to go 40s, 50s, very early 60s, like very early 60s. And then and the 30s also because I love those Ernst Lubitsch movies from the 30s. Like I will always watch those. And I don't think I have seen one of his films that have ever disappointed me. So very excited to see this one and to see Betty Davis and to see how melodramatic it actually is because I do like a good melodrama. And then the next movie I got, now this is The Awful Truth. I've never seen this. I'm trying to really like bump up all of my screwball comedies and make sure that I kind of have all of the screwball comedies in the Criterion collection because that has been my favorite genre. Ever since I've gone back and been looking at older movies, I love a screwball comedy. There's maybe one that I didn't enjoy, but for the most part, I love all of them. And how could I not love a movie with Irene Dunn and Cary Grant? So this is just like the perfect combination. I know they had these movies on the Criterion channel. I want to say even just like last month, but I purposefully didn't watch certain ones because I wanted to have the better copy of the Blu-ray because I think I'm getting sicker in the head with this whole obsession. So we'll see. The next one is La Verte. This is one that I was just kind of scrolling through the collection, and I absolutely love Bridget Bardot in films. And so I was very excited to see this one. This is a French film from 1960, and it is about a murder and someone who's been accused of a crime. And I can only imagine that this is a very realistic depiction of the trial and what happened to this woman and what put her in the situation that she was in. I think Bridget Bardot can be a really excellent actress, even though sometimes there are things that she says in real life that might be like, oh, okay, what is? But I don't really care about that. I've wanted to see this film for a while. I had it on my Criterion wish list, so I am very excited to see it. And then the last one that I got in what was that original order is a film I have seen before and a movie that I was kind of blown away by. Didn't realize I was going to love it this much. Just kind of watched it on Amazon Prime and didn't really have any idea what I was getting into. So this is In a Lonely Place with Humphrey Bogart, and I've really been into trying to watch all of his films lately. I just recently taught Casablanca, and for some reason, it just clicked in my head this time how special of an actor he is. And I've seen him in so many movies, and it never clicked for me the way it clicked as I was watching this movie literally over and over and over and over again, 4 times a day. Um, but this film I loved immediately because it's film noir, but it has this really romantic, dark element to it, and this idea of whether we can trust people that we are with, or if we can't really trust them, and how what happens to our minds when we feel like we can't trust someone that we love. And the ending in this film is haunting. If you haven't seen In a Lonely Place and you like film noir, this is a very high recommend. So I'm very excited to rewatch. When I had looked, I think it's streaming again, but when I bought this, it was not streaming. So you know what? I would much rather have the physical copies because you never have a guarantee with the digital media. And even if you own the digital media, you don't have a guarantee that you're going to get access to it forever. I've recently had several panic attacks with this with 28 Days Later, and listening to a podcast. I was listening to Blank Check, and they were basically saying you can't get 28 Days Later on digital, you can't really get it so much on DVD or Blu-ray, and it was really hard to get. So now I actually have a copy on DVD and Blu-ray. There was literally no reason for me to get the Blu-ray copy because it is the dirtiest digital movie ever, but digitally filmed, I mean. Uh, but I'm glad I have a backup copy to a movie that is not getting made anymore. So, and I heard about the potential sequel 28 months later with Cillian Murphy and Danny Boyle. I mean, if that could be a reality, I don't think I could be a happier person. So please, universe, if that could be a reality, I would be really, really happy and so excited to see Cillian Murphy in Oppenheimer as well. So these next three movies are the movies that I got for $15. I'm so excited about that. And I got one that I wasn't so sure about, but I thought, well, if you're not paying for it, it's definitely worth getting. And that is the first one is one that I've been going back and forth and almost bought it a few times, but this is the time that I actually got it. So it's High Sierra. So another Humphrey Bogart film. I've never seen this one. Very excited to see it. Seems like another kind of heist, dark kind of a film. But right now, anything with Humphrey Bogart, especially any kind of film noir, maybe not always. I want to say he's done a couple of Westerns, but with that transition in mind, this is this sort of the film where I wasn't sure if I wanted it, but then because it was essentially going to be free, I thought, I'm going to get it. And that is Destry Goes West, or Destry. Wow, I completely made up the title of this movie. Destry Rides Again, not Destry Goes West. that is a different movie that doesn't exist that maybe I should make. But anyway, this is a Western. I've been really trying to open myself up to watching Westerns lately, and I'm glad that I have because I've actually been enjoying them more than I expected. But I also feel like I was in the right frame of mind to start watching Westerns. So I thought this was the perfect moment. It has two actors that I adore. So it has Jimmy Stewart and Marlene Dietrich, which I feel like is the strangest couple to put together in a movie. And for that reason alone, I just want to watch this. And then it's also a comedy Western. And I have not seen many comedy Westerns in my life. I will say a Western I saw this past week that I really loved, and I didn't see it when it came out, was The Harder They Fall with Idris Elba, who is, to me, such an underrated actor who doesn't always get the right parts for him. And because I saw the movie Beast and it was like, all right, that was okay. But he's such a good actor and he's so captivating. Like, I will just watch him in anything. And to see him in something like The Harder They Fall, I felt like that movie actually lived up to being a good movie and a movie where he was excellent in that film. So that was a really, I'm like, I'm back in the Western. I'm ready to watch them. I feel like I'm in the right headspace. And then last but not least, this is one, there's always, for me at least, there's always those movies that I haven't seen that I purposefully do not watch because I always want to have another great movie to hold on to that I haven't seen yet. And this is that movie. But I thought, you know what? I'm going to buy it. So I have it. So during the summer where I feel like, okay, this is the right time, I'm going to watch it. So I got Holiday with my favorite people. So with Katharine Hepburn and Cary Grant, directed by George Cukor. The Philadelphia Story is in my top 10 favorite movies of all time. And so I'm just really excited to see the film that came before The Philadelphia Story. And I know this film did not do well. And that is why The Philadelphia Story was so important when it came out. But it got such good reviews. And how could it not be good with these two? I mean, separately, they are fantastic actors, but together, even better. I mean, if Jimmy Stewart were in this, it would be the best because I will never think anything beats Jimmy Stewart and Katharine Hepburn in Philadelphia Story. But that's it. That's my group. That's my group of movies. So it's 10 films all together. That is a lot. That is a lot for me. I usually don't get that much at once, but it also everything sort of worked out, which is great. And I was able to save a little bit of money and it gives a lot of viewing, a lot of watching. And whenever I'm not sure what to watch next, I just go to the DVD, the Blu-ray case with the Criterions, and I just pick something out from there. So thank you so much for watching. If you have made it this far, thank you so much. If you haven't subscribed, please consider doing so. I would love to hear in the comments what everyone got in the flash sale. If you did indeed get something in the flash sale. And if you didn't, what do you plan on getting in July when we have the Barnes and Noble sale, which I think I'm going to go a little bit easier on. So please stay tuned. I have a few ideas for videos, like from what I said before, but also I was thinking of even, and this would be a big thing, going through all of the criterions that I have. And I mean, I probably have like 50 or 60. I don't even know. I haven't counted, but it's the entire DVD case, but it's a wire case. So it's like, yeah, maybe 60, maybe more. I don't know. But if you would like to see a video like that, also leave that in the comments below. As always, thank you so much for watching, and I hope you all have a great day. Bye.